This video is all about probability. So we're going to go through three different of the most common types of examples that you're likely to see on your test. And so those three types of questions are there's dice questions, card questions, and coin questions, like flipping a coin. So we'll go through each of these. Okay, so first of all, we have dice, right? And so with dice, you assume that we're talking about, you have dice and you could roll, when you roll it could be anything between 1 and 6, right? And so you could be asked, like, what are the odds of rolling 3 consecutive 6s? Okay. So if it's a consecutive number, if you hear that term consecutive, that means multiply in your head. Consecutive equals multiply, right? So we start off, there's a 1 in 6 chance that I roll a 6, right? Okay, and they asked for 3 in a row. So if they said 2 in a row, we have to get to 2 in a row before we can get to 3 in a row, then it would be 1/6 times 1/6 equals 1 over 36. So there's a 1 in 36 chance that I would roll 2 6s in a row. It would be exactly the same if it was 2 4s in a row or 2 1s in a row, 2 of anything in a row, 1 out of 36 chance. Okay, and since the question was 3 6s in a row, we got to multiply it times 1/6 one more time. Okay, and so 36 times 6, I'll just save you the hassle of doing the math, is 216, right? And so you have a 1 in 216 chance of rolling 3 6s in a row. So not all that likely, right? Okay. Next we have cards. Okay, so with cards you got to know like a couple of basics just about cards, right? So like playing like a regular card game. Um, and so in a deck of cards there are 52 cards, right? You have 4 suits, right? Like diamonds is a suit, spades is a suit. There's 4 of them. Okay, and so you have 52 cards in a deck. And a lot of times they will tell you this in the question, like in a 52 card deck. Okay, and in a 52 card deck for each suit, there is 4 face cards, right? And so that's ace, jack, queen, and king. So there's 4 of them, and there's 4 suits, so there's 16 face cards overall. And then there's all the rest of the cards have a number next to it. It's like, it's the 8 of clubs or something like that. Okay, so 16 face cards. And so our question is going to be 2 consecutive face cards. What are the odds of drawing 2 consecutive face cards? So we already could see here that the odds of getting 1 face card is 16 out of 52. Okay, and so 16 out of 52, if we divide each side by 4 over 4 to kind of just reduce this thing down a little bit, that gets us 4 out of 13. Okay, so we got a 4 out of 13 chance of getting a face card on the first one. Okay, now on the second one, and it will say like so once, like if I just drew the ace of hearts, then the ace of hearts gets discarded, so it's no longer in there. And so now there are only 51 cards in the deck. And now there are only 15 face cards, right? Because that, what did I say, the ace of hearts, right? That ace of hearts has been discarded. So the way you find 2 consecutive face cards would be this. And then we would multiply this out, and we would get an answer of 60 all over 663. And that is approximately 9%. Okay, and if you're trying to figure out what percentage is 60 out of 663, without using a calculator, what we would like to know is that 60 over 600 would be 10%, right? So that 663 number, if you're just eyeballing it, you probably like another percentage or so, and so that you'd be down to around 9%. All right, let's try and get a little bit more room here for this last one. Okay, so both of those were consecutive numbers, and that's a lot of the probability questions are like, what's the likelihood of It's always what's the likelihood. That's how probability is. What's the likelihood of some event happening? But a lot of times it's like some repeating event happening. Okay. So the last one is with coins, right? So you just have heads or tails. So what's the likelihood of 3 consecutive heads, right? So this is very similar to the first question where it was 3 consecutive sixes. Okay, so then this one, the chance of getting a head is 1 out of 2, right? And if you remember, when they say the odds of consecutive, that means multiply, right? Which is what we've done on all these problems, right? So there's a 1 out of 2 chance of drawing a head, right? And 2 consecutive heads or tails, but in this case we're going with heads. 2 consecutive heads is 1 out of 4 because we're multiplying 1/2 times 1/2. 3 consecutive heads, just do it one more time, and make sure you're always multiplying by 1/2. Don't all of a sudden go 1/4 times 1/4 or something. That'll give us a weird answer, right? So 3 consecutive heads, the odds of getting it are 1 out of 8.